Greetings, all. This is my WalkAway story, um, and I'm about to twist it. And before I get into my story, just want to give my preliminaries that this is a start to many um, videos. I'm about to rename my page and everything, come up with a name, and start to enlighten politically. There's a different twist that I feel as though I can present that can open up and enlighten people politically to know how we're being manipulated. Anyway, um, I was 18 the first time I voted, and that was when Obama was running for president. I voted for him. I don't know why I did. My mother was pressing me to vote for Obama at the time, and I was I was interested because Obama was a black man. Um, Man, I can't wait to twist this. But at the time, I was thinking he's a black man, and there's he's gonna come for he's gonna come to change the situation of black people, and I was totally ignorant. I just want to be totally honest. I was ignorant at the time. I was a voter, and I was kind of pressured, as you would say, into voting for Obama. Didn't look at any of the facts. I just pressed the button. And for the first 4 years, I really didn't even pay attention. I remember the night he won, a lot of people were texting me like, "Oh, congratulations, you've seen the first black president," and blah 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 blah, and and then after that, it's like nothing. I even remember Young Jeezy made the song, "My president is black, my Lambo's blue," blah 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 blah. I like that song and everything. I got a shirt with Obama's name on it and everything, and I used to walk around and I used to get these looks. And I didn't like the looks, but at the same time, I had no idea why I was getting the looks. Yeah, some of it was probably hate. But some of it was probably like, yo, you don't know what you're following. But anyway, another 4 years go by. He's running again against Mitt Romney. I voted for him again, and I still didn't know anything about anything. Quite honestly, I just voted because Obama was this big black. Say he was this big black. This guy who was the did supposedly did good. Got us out of um. He got us into an economic recovery and did the bailouts. I didn't know what the bailouts were for, but I cheered for the bailouts and everything. Um, and it's funny though. It's funny though because the first time he ran, I wanted Hillary Clinton to win. You know why? I wanted Hillary Clinton to win because at that time I'm like, yeah, a woman president, a woman president. Because my mom is a pastor, and she's a big advocate for women, but she wasn't even voting for Hillary Clinton at that time. She wanted Barack Obama. So that's funny, but I had to backtrack. But anyway, moving forward, yeah, I thought the bailout, the bailout and everything was a good thing, and it was a good thing. People were gonna get their jobs back. I was thinking about my dad, because my dad has big accounts, and he's a big investor, his 401k, all that, blah 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 blah. So I thought that was good, and then 2015, 16. I started to wake up and really do research. And there isn't any particular um, video or talking point that totally changed my thought. It was actually researching on the things that were supposedly good and they weren't. During the 2016 election with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, I woke up completely. Like, completely. And at first, it was kind of amateur, I'm not going to lie. It was more so just being angry. Like, I woke up about just a lot of lies that are told to my people who we aren't black, we're melanated, really, if we want to get to absolutes, because now I deal in absolutes. I don't deal in group thinking. It's about individual thought, and it's also about loving God. You have to love God, and you have to walk in the you have to walk in this in the spiritual guidance of God. Like, that's really what you have to do, and you'll be enlightened. I remember one time praying to God, saying, Lord, basically just saying, Lord, guide me, show me what is the truth. And I've been yearning for the truth ever since. But anyway, 2016 election, it was amateur. My wake up was amateur at first, because I went on all the talking points that I heard about Hillary Clinton saying bring people to heal, and we thought it was for the colored people, Hispanics, and Africans that are in America. That's how it started. And then I really started to research and look at what Hillary Clinton did in Haiti, which was totally wrong. Um, the the NAFTA deal and what it really did to America. Um, I mean, even going back to the 80s, great movie to watch. Great movie to watch is American Made. Watch that movie. It talks about Reagan's term, and how just totally out of touch he was with his own administration. Watch that movie. That movie is great. Just came out in 2017. But yeah, my wake up was amateur, but then I started, even on Donald Trump's side, started some of the dealings that he had were corrupting, especially me being from the Garden State, and him dealing with many things in Atlantic City, and a lot of companies, and a lot of people that I've interviewed down there have totally exposed his dealings and everything that he's done. Now, I was like, okay, this election is just totally, we're totally trapped as a nation. However, um the one thing that got me to really walk away from being a Democrat, because I was a Democrat since I voted for Obama the past two terms, was the was Donald Trump's message of being an anti-globalist. This is where I'm going to twist it. I am not walking away from the Democratic Party does not necessarily mean I'm on the Republican side either. So I just walked away from the two-party paradigm. That's why I want to in a good way hijack this whole walk away movement, because we don't need to just walk away from the Democratic Party. We need to walk away from the Republican Party too. There are, and I give credit to this thought process. His name is Derek Grayson. I want you to look him up on YouTube. He is somebody who really woke me up to the real game. And the game is progressives versus ordinary citizens that run in office. It's the progressive agenda of globalism that will turn this country into the have and the have-nots. The NAFTA deal did a lot of damage to the middle class. And you hear the Democrats talking about revival of the middle class, but doing the total opposite with their globalist practices. Obama was a globalist. First of all, he wasn't even, as they say, a Negro. He was not a full Negro or full melanated man. He was half Negro and half Caucasian. I don't deal with colors, because I'm not black. Like this shirt, I'm not black. I'm colored. I'm melanated. Caucasians are not white. Like, they're not white like this piece of paper. They're not. They're not white like that piece of paper. They're Caucasians. They're Caucasoids. Hispanics are not, as you would say, yellow. They're not yellow. They're not a color. They are Hispanics, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, I walked away from the progressive thinking. Globalism is horrible to sovereign, to the Constitution as a whole. It's horrible. It's like going against everything that the Constitution is about, which deals with sovereignty, liberty, and it promotes individual thought. I mean, promoting individual thought versus group thought, taking the middle class totally out and taking all their wealth by taxing them to death on things that these progressive claim are real issues in the world, and they're really not. Like, a lot of the things Trump did in office so far, taking us out of treaties and taking us away from trade deals that burden the normal taxpayer. I really hope that foreign aid is cut, and cut to a reasonable portion, because it burdens us in many ways. But that's my walk away story. I'm totally not on the two-party paradigm. We need fresh, new, either independent or other party voices within not just the federal government. Because remember, the federal government is over everything, but they can't intervene in state issues. So we have to put an emphasis on local and state elections, because a lot of progressives aren't just in the federal government. They're in your state and local governments, and they're making up lies to tax you and take away your hard-working labor and your time, and they're taking away your money, which could go towards a trust fund, or it could go towards another currency where you could place your wealth. It could go towards your kids' college education fund, which I have a video on that, because education in a way is controlled by government too. And if you notice, it's pushed by the media, which is a corporate tool of progressives in government. No doubt. And it puts you in debt. So I just wanted to document my walk away story. It's really short, not too much in between, but I'm totally awake now, and my thing is, you can spot a globalist. There are many globalists, like the Lindsey Grahams on one side, Lindsey Grahams, the John McCain's, I mean, and then on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton, Obama, Bernie Sanders. The list goes on. That guy in Connecticut, I don't remember his first name, Murphy. He's a senator for Connecticut. He's a Democrat. George Bush, his dad, Ronald Reagan. The list goes on. These were progressives. It didn't matter what the party was. It didn't matter what party they were affiliated with. They are progressives, and progressives are about globalism and one world government. And that's what this country could be pushed towards, since we're the most powerful nation in the world. So I walked away from the progressive thinking. I would sound crazy, because, if you think of the word progressive, or, you think of progressive thinking, you're like, wait, why would he go away from that type of thinking? Because we're supposed to move forward. But you really have to look at how they want us to move forward, how these progressive thinkers want us to move forward. And the way, when you really break it down, it's not progressive thinking, it's dependency on the government, because that's what progressives and globalists like. They love dependency on the government, because if you're dependent on the government, it cripples you from safeguarding yourself from the government's action. Because I mean, you got to think about it, the government really doesn't have that much control over you right now, but we're giving that up. We're giving all of our securities up because of the manipulation and the the idea that they know what the issues are, and or they're making up issues to bring you in, reel you in, and get your money. So, like for instance, climate change. This country, I mean, not this country, this world has been through two ice ages. Uh, instead of making up a story about, oh well, the temperature's rising, or the sea levels are lowering, which is true. Don't get me wrong, but to form a a treaty. I forgot what the treaty was called, where all these countries were involved, and basically do nothing to combat it, but just take taxpayer money and personally enrich themselves, is wrong. I'm not saying climate change isn't real. I'm just saying the way they were pushing it was just to personally enrich themselves. They're not doing anything about climate change. They're just stating that it's an issue, and then they form something to make it seem like they're doing something, but they're just taking our money and taking it to the banks that they're just taking it to the banks that they bailed out. And I mean, even uh okay, so this is another part of my walk away story. I mean, I researched that Obama really didn't recover the economy. He didn't recover the economy at all. He bailed out the car companies so people could buy new cars. However, those car companies just continued to took the money and offshored the jobs out of the country. So take that and chew on it, man. We could have bailed out personal debt. We could have bailed out all of these, all of the people my age, because I'm 25. All of the people my age and even older and younger. We could have bailed out the student loan debt. We could have bailed out a lot of other things under Obama instead of the banks and the automotive industry that really just function off of consumers. So you got to really think about this stuff. Yeah, I'm not going in depth, but that's my walk away story. Walk away from the two-party system, because the two-party system is dividing us. I mean, I see fights all over because it's dividing us. Walk away from the two-party system. Walk away from group thinking. Walk away from the progressive line of thinking. Walk away from globalism. Walk away from manipulation. And that's all I got to say.